Cyprus, a small island with a big rally. Since it began in 1970, it's been an event which has attracted crews from all over Europe and the Middle East. They come for a rally which has been acclaimed as one of the world's most outstanding motoring events, a supreme test for competitors and cars. The 1981 Rothman Cyprus Rally was to prove no exception. Lasting 2 days and 2 nights, it's short by some international standards, but the 440 stage miles ahead of these crews cover everything from ghost tracks to tarmac, from seashore to mountaintop. The only constant factors, the heat and the dust. From Greece, Alex Maniatopoulos, better known as Leonidas, brought his brand new Renault 5 Turbo, so new that it was still being prepared only hours before scrutineering. A small car packing a lot of power, but how would it stand up to the testing conditions? Among the privateers to make the long journey to the eastern Mediterranean, Irishmen Ernest Kenmore and John Armstrong with their Talbot Sunbeam, a team more used to the tarmac events of their homeland.
Test, and I tried the Circuit of Ireland a couple of times and finished and thought it was tough.
But the Circuit of Ireland is all tarmac. There's very little tarmac.
This is the complete opposite, I think. This is going to be more probably the biggest endurance test that you could have for a car, and a driver, plus a navigator.
What are your chances, do you think?
Poor, I think. We're just going for a finish.
Cambridge University Auto Club sent another Talbot Sunbeam with David Liddell, veteran of the Himalayan Rally, at the wheel. Well, David, from Cambridge University Auto Club, it's a long way to come for a privateer entry. What do you think of the rally? What's attracted you here?
Well, it's a very interesting countryside, and the route looks very interesting. We've been around most of the route over the last few days, and it certainly looks as interesting, and the organisers are offering us very good terms to come here. So with those sort of inducements, we could afford to make the trip out here.
It is an event, then, which is quite open for a privateer, quite possible.
Oh, yes, I think so. I mean, it's quite rough, but then if you take it fairly gently, and it's quite long as well, if you take it fairly gently, I don't see you should have any problems finishing and even getting quite a good place, because normally very few people actually finish, apparently. And hopefully, if we finish, we should be in with a good chance.
One of the most consistent local drivers is Chris Komitsis, having finished 7 out of his 8 Cyprus rallies, and all those in the top 10 placings. Well, Chris, it's 10 years to the day since you won the Cyprus Rally. Since then, you've consistently finished with high placings. What are your chances this year?
I don't know about overall placing, but it is a challenge this year to win the Group 1 category. Actually, it's the hottest contended group. We are something like 20 cars out of the 50 that are going to start competing for the Group 1 honors. I think it's a challenge.
And are you going to win them in the Honda?
I'll surely try my best.
What is so attractive about the Cyprus Rally, do you think, that attracts not just the local drivers, but many foreign competitors?
I think we have a first-class organization. The scenery, if you break down, is fantastic.
But at the Nicosia start, most eyes were focused on the young Cumbrian driver in the Rothmans Rally Team Escort RS 1800, car number 1. For Malcolm Wilson, twice British national rally champion, this was to be his first taste of the Cyprus event.
Well, I think it's going to be a very difficult rally. I didn't anticipate it being anything as tight and as twisty and as long, really. And of course, the heat isn't going to help. It's going to be a real test against man and machine.
It's a bit of a car breaker too, isn't it?
Yes, there's 1 or 2 stages which are very rough, and they're going to take it out of the car. And I think those are the sort of areas where you're going to have to just, take it gentle and don't be too hard on the car.
Because it is such a car breaker, what special modifications have you had to make?
Well, it's virtually the same specifications what we would use in a British Forest event, which, they can get very rough as well. And obviously there's a lot of speed involved back home. And it is slower here, so we're hoping that the spec will be quite compatible.
Hopes of success may have been high, but fate had other plans in store for the young British driver. His rally was to last for just 40 miles, but even in that short distance, he was to pull out a 35-second lead. Right behind him on the road, Leonidas' Renault Turbo, but this too was destined to last no longer than the first night. In the stadium, local hopes were on car number 3, the Group 2 Mitsubishi Lancer of Vahan Turjan, the man they call the Flying Cypriot, and with good reason. Another British entry, Jeff Fielding, in his Group 4 Escort RS 1800. He was to make good use of the David Sutton service cruise after the early departure of Malcolm Wilson. Night was falling quickly as the cruise left the start in the Nicosia Stadium and moved out into the streets of Cyprus's capital. Rallying is a comparatively young sport on the island, but its popularity is such that thousands of spectators were out to follow the event. Mix 50 rally cars with big enthusiastic crowds and throw in the rush hour traffic of a capital city, and you have a recipe designed to cause indigestion for the policemen on points duty. And bus drivers the world over never seem to stop when you want them to. The Cyprus Rally is split into 4 main sections, and the first night has been designed to sort out the field. 300 miles to the first regrouping at Paphos, and half of that was special stages over some of the most demanding mountain roads in Europe. Of those cars setting out through the streets of Nicosia, only 2/3 were to reach the end of that first grueling night section. 6 hours after the start, and the rally is well into the Troodos Mountains, where the darkness mercifully hides the sheer drops by the roadside. Leonides' Renault Turbo is well up with the leaders, but now begins to suffer serious fuel injection problems, which are soon to put him out of the rally. The favourite, Malcolm Wilson, is missing, and with the Renault Turbo in trouble, all eyes are on the leading local driver, Turjan, who takes over the lead during the night. Servicing is a problem, since the zigzagging mountain route makes it difficult for service crews to leapfrog the competing cars. But Stelios Galides makes a rendezvous at Kalassa. The Irish crew goes straight through with no need for assistance.
So far I'm doing okay. I had no problem. This is just a tire change. This is the only one I hope I'm going to do until I go to Paphos.
Is it very rough so far?
It's rough enough. I didn't have any punctures, and I'm very fortunate for that. And I hope my luck keeps going on.
Have you seen Malcolm Wilson?
I saw him on a side road in the first special stage. Somebody told me that his back axle came out or something like that. That's all I know.
Wilson is out with a broken stub axle on the second stage. With the number 1 driver gone, it's up to the local stars to shine. As dawn breaks, the survivors come down from the mountains, heading towards Paphos and a welcome 3-hour break. Still going, Takis Rosides, a local dentist in his wife's 10-year-old Volkswagen Beetle. She uses it for shopping, and for the past 4 years, he's borrowed it annually for the rally. He's finished every time. For some, though, there'll never be a substitute for more traditional forms of transport. Back in the heat of the day, Turjan tackled the first stage after Paphos with the confidence of a man who's already built up a 17-minute lead. The goddess of love, Aphrodite, is said to have risen from the sea off this coastline, but no one would have noticed if she repeated the performance today. Jeff Fielding took a minute off the leader on this stage, putting him up 2 places to finish 6th overall. Kenmore and Armstrong on their way to 9th overall. The Lebanese driver Bustros in the Toyota Corolla. 3 times in previous years he'd come close to achieving that ambition, only to be thwarted at the last minute. This year his perseverance had paid off. The honours went to the man the locals believed deserved it most, the flying Cypriot.